Everybody's Chris from the Evermore podcast, Newcastle United podcast, and the Evermore YouTube channel, back with a match preview for the upcoming game this weekend, where Newcastle United are travelling all of 295 miles down to Brighton, Hove Albion, to take on the Seagulls, Graham Potter's high-flying Seagulls. So we're going to get stuck in, have a little look about, the match, the kind of previous results and fixture history, and just a little bit about, my thoughts, I suppose, on how the game's going to go and how we're probably going to line up. So just before I do a little bit of housekeeping, if you haven't already, please click that like and subscribe button. We really appreciate all the new subscribers we've had. Thank you so much, everybody. It's brilliant. We're over 1,600 now, so we really appreciate that. We're going to push on, hopefully, to 1,700 with any new listeners that are watching. Click that notification bell. You'll never miss a video, whether it be the live podcast Mondays and Wednesdays or the uploads that we do, like the match previews like this. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this game then. So, great opening day results really for both sides. So obviously, we talked about our side at length, in terms of beating Nottingham Forest quite comfortably, dominant performance, 2-0 at the Pack St James's Park, wore flags of attendance. The lads played brilliantly, everyone to a man. Bruno stood out. Joe Linton was superb. Joe Willock's energy. Wilson took his goal well. Maxey looked up for it. So, yeah, pretty much the best opening day we could probably have hoped for. Probably could have been about 4 or 5-0. I think we've already said about this. If Miggy had a right foot, we possibly would have battered them. I think Di said that on the podcast this Wednesday. But this is a total different competition, a total different set of players we're coming up against in Brighton and Hove Albion. They played brilliantly. They went to Old Trafford. They won 2-1. To be fair, could have been 4 or 5 for them as well. I thought they were dominant. They really went after Manchester United. Weirdly enough, looking at the stats of that game that they played against Manchester United, they had the ball all in all 37% versus Manchester United 63%. This is the whole game. They had 15 shots and 4 on target, 2 corner kicks, 12 fouls, so they got stuck in as well. 2 big chances. In terms of passing, they had 326 passes right throughout that game. Accurate passes 70%. And 50% crosses as well. So that's 6 out of 12 crosses into the box. And, they did really well, in terms of tackles, 14 tackles in the game, 12 interceptions and 24 clearances. Brighton are a good side. They're a good, steady away side. And I just think that for us, this is a real good test for us. I mean, Brighton kind of in and around us towards the back end of last season. They finished a little bit higher than us. We always say with Brighton, if they just had a finisher, then they would be a lot better for the side than they are right now. But I think they're still a threat. They've still got some really good players. I was really impressed, with the likes of Lallana and Welbeck, a couple of players that people have maybe given up on a little bit over the years. I thought they were superb against Manchester United. It's really difficult. I mean, Pascal Gross as well with a double. You can't look past that as well. He's been superb. Linked to Newcastle and some of the rumours as well, and some of our fans are a bit dismissive about that. But Brighton are a well-drilled, well-organised side with a really good manager. So this will be a really good game, I think, down at the AMEX. But it's hard to look at that Brighton-Man United game and not wonder how much of that was Brighton being really good and Manchester United being really shit. When you start a game up front with Christian Eriksen as a striker, you're in big trouble. So there's potentially a lot of that in there as well. I think Manchester United came more into the game in the second half. I think when they brought on some of the more established players in key positions, and they obviously got their goal back and probably should have pushed for an equaliser, really. But you can't argue with Brighton's performance. I think they started really well, strong, like I say, well-drilled, well-organised. Potter's got them playing exactly the way he wants to play them. They've got some real dangerous players. I like the boy Lampard, and I know he tortured ASM up at St James's Park a season or so ago. He started on the bench against Manchester United. He may come in, or Potter may just keep with the same side. So, I mean, the kind of predicted lineup that we're looking at for Brighton Hove Albion probably is Sanchez, Veltman, Dunk, who's a very good centre-half, Webster as well. Solly Marsh is a busy player. Gross is a really good player. McAllister, Caicedo in midfield with Trossard, Lallana and Welbeck. That's a dangerous side. The hard work, and they're not global superstars, but they work hard. They use the ball well. And they could be a real threat for our back line. I suppose for us, we're probably going to be unchanged. There was no real injury threats at the weekend. We played really well. Will Botman come in or not? I don't know. I don't think so. That's a big question. I had him in my fantasy team last week, and I took him out now. So no, my luck, he probably will come in. But yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to do with Botman. I mean, it's a hell of a baptism of fire if you give his first start the week after against Manchester City at home, and the Lord of Haaland himself, Erling Haaland. So that'd be a hell of a tester from him. Mind you, if he came to that with flying colours, we'd have a hell of a player on my hands, even better than I thought we would. But I think we'll be unchanged. Possibly the only change maybe in the midfield, potentially. I think Willock was brilliant. against Forest, but knowing Eddie Howe the way he is, maybe he'll change it up, and he might bring in Longstaff for a bit more of that kind of disciplined defensive quality. That midfield for Brighton is busy. They like to get around, they like to get in the ball, they're energetic. So potentially, he might bring in Longstaff, who's got slightly better defensive qualities. But I wouldn't be surprised if we go and change, which probably look like Pope, Trippier, Shaw, Byrne, Target, Joe Willock, Bruno, Joe Linton, Mickey Wilson, and ASM, which was the team that started against Forest. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of the same. But where do I think we'll win this game? I think we said this in the podcast on Wednesday. I think Dye pointed this out as well. Credit to Dye. The midfield's probably where we're going to win it. If you look at their midfield, the likes of, Gross, McAllister, Caicedo, again, hardworking. Gross has got goals in them as well. McAllister and Caicedo are busy. They close down the ball well. They get stuck in. But with Bruno, Joe Linton, and Willock, if he's on song, I think we've got a slightly better midfield. I think we've got more quality in there. I think we use the ball a bit better. I think the engine, that Joe Linton has. I think that the quality that Bruno possesses. And, Joe Willock was getting in position to score goals last week against Forest. If he does the same thing against Brighton, he could be a real threat as well in terms of the goal threat too. So I think Brighton will definitely be worried about Newcastle coming to town. I think we're a much different outfit than we were previously. I know the last time I think we went down there was Eddie Howe was in the stands, I think. It was Graham Jones's last game, I believe. It was a 1-1 draw. I predicted a draw on the podcast. I'm still probably going for a draw because I think the two teams may just cancel each other out. Like I say, Brighton have started really strong, but the problem is normally scoring goals. Gross won't score you 2 goals every week. That's just not the kind of player that he is. I think they're still weak up front. I think if Wilson's bang up for this, he could win as the game on his own. But, I think that midfield battle is definitely key to this game. In terms of previous track records, we haven't got a really great track record in this fixture, to be honest with you. I'll just put up the previous fixtures there so you can see it. So the last 10 Premier League games, Brighton have won 4. We've only won 1. 11 goals for Brighton, 4 for us, 7 clean sheets for them, and only 3 for us. So the last 5 games at Brighton was a 1-1 draw, a 3-0 defeat for us, 0-0, 1-1, and 1-0. So you can see there we haven't got a great track record there, but there was a few draws in there. So I think you'd be right to back a draw. I think with both teams having similar levels of work rate, similar levels of discipline from really good technical managers, I think they'll probably cancel each other out. So yeah, it should be a decent game, and I think we're all excited to see how we do. It's a very different game to Nottingham Forest one, like City will be a very different game to this one the week after. So these are really 3 interesting games to see how Newcastle United cope with very, very different plays and very, very different styles of play and different styles of players and managers and everything else. So this is really, really interesting, I think, to see how we cope with this. It'll show you how far we've come probably under the kind of meticulous management of Eddie Howe. If we can see out this game, grind it in, frustrate Brighton, stifle their play, and then, maybe pick up another 3 points here would be absolutely superb. If we could get 6 points out of these first 3 games, I think that's a hell of a result. I'm not sure we're going to get into the City game. We'll obviously get into that the week after for a preview and everything else. But yeah, this is a good game for us. I think be a tough game, and my money is on a draw. But let us know what you guys think in the comments below if you think we've got a chance to take all 3 points here. I think it could go either way. Just depends on what Brighton turns up really. But if it's the Brighton from last week, yeah, I think we're in for a real tough game, come 3 o'clock on Saturday. But again, like I say, let us know what you guys think in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to engage with you. If you haven't already, please click that like and subscribe button. We'd love you to come and join the growing army of subscribers that we've got there. Like I say, we're over 1,600 now. So we're really pushing, hopefully, about 1,700 soon. With loads of content. Like I say, we've got the weekly podcasts every week, Mondays and Wednesdays. And then we have regular videos like this, previews, reviews, a bit of transfer talk as well when the window's still open. So keep it ever more from now, guys. Let's keep supporting that team of Core United. Hopefully we can pick up a good result tomorrow, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.